Okay, children, yesterday we discussed the vector form of Ohm's law, and also we did many important concepts. Now today we will discuss carbon resistors and their coding of carbon resistors. Children, we generally deal with two types of resistors. A resistor is actually a piece of a wire which provides resistance. Generally we deal with two types of resistors. One is wired resistor. Now what is a wired resistor? A wired resistor has wires coiled in a frame, and this basically the wired resistor is made up of alloys like constantan or magnenin because they have low resistivity. For ordinary circuits it is okay to use wired resistors, but then in many practical phenomena cases we deal with resistance which is extremely high, and this resistance cannot be generated with the help of a wired resistor. Therefore we use carbon resistor, and a carbon resistor is basically a piece of carbon which has very high resistance. Now imagine a piece of a wire which is cylindrical like this. It is not a coiled resistance here. Now each carbon resistor has a fixed resistance. Now the question arises, how to mark the resistance of the carbon resistor? Therefore, instead of writing the resistance on the thin cylindrical carbon resistor which is made up of carbon, we use a system of coding. In fact, there are 4 stripes on it like this. 4 stripes. I draw a bigger diagram of a carbon resistor. This is a carbon resistor. On this carbon resistance, there are 4 stripes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 stripes. We will generally look from left to the right, one into another. Now the first 2 stripes, or we can read like this. This is first significant figure. The first stripe out here will give you the first significant figure. Now the second stripe here gives second significant figure. Now the third stripe gives multiplier to base 10. And then the fourth one gives tolerance. Tolerance meaning what possible errors could be there in the resistance. So let us understand this, and each stripe is marked with a significant color which is different for each stripe. Okay, so we will say a carbon resistor. Now coding, there are 4 stripes, 4 colored stripes with each color having affixed a certain significant figure. For example, the first type is red, the second type is blue, the third one is green, and the last one is violet. The last one is golden or whatever color. These first types have different colors. Now these colors, we will understand how we can identify, we can assign the numerical value to them. And fourth one can have only two colors, either it can be golden or it can be silver. And these three colors will have one of the colors from the spectrum. So let's see. Each color will carry a different what? Significant figure. So you will learn this trick. BB Roy, Great Britain, very good wife. Now there is a trick to remember which color will give you which significant figure. Now there are three B's, be very careful, three B's. This B is black, this is brown, and this is blue. There are two G's. First G is green and the second G is grey. And children, the other colors can be easily identified. Brown, this is red, this is orange, this is yellow, and this is violet. So what significance will be, figures will be assigned to them? Very easy. It will be 0 to 9, blue will be 0, black, brown, blue, black, brown, blue. Black will be 0, brown will be 1, red will be 2, orange will be 3, yellow will be 4, green will be 5, blue will be 6, violet will be 7, grey will be 8, and W children is white, so white will be 9. So these are the significant that figures that will be assigned: black, brown, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, grey and white. The easy trick to remember is BB Roy, Great Britain, very good wife. Okay. So make sure you learn this trick. So a carbon resistance, when we put a coating on it, there are 4 stripes. The first 2 stripes will be, let's see this once again, BB Roy, Great Britain, very good wife. Once again we will understand this coding system. This is black, this is brown, this is red, this is orange, this is yellow. Once again I am writing, this is green, and this is grey, this is blue, this is violet, and this is white. And the significant figures corresponding to them: black is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so the coding system will write coding system for carbon resistors. First two stripes show significant figures. First two stripes show significant figures. Now, second system. Third stripe shows digit corresponding to multiplier to the base 10. And the fourth stripe shows tolerance. Tolerance means error. And for tolerance, again there is a rules. If the first type is gold, it is plus minus 5%. Silver, plus minus 10%. And if there is no stripe, if the first type is not there, then it is plus minus 20%. Clear? So let's try to find out resistance of a carbon resistor here. Suppose you are given a carbon resistor and the first type is a 1, 2, 3, 4. Suppose this is blue, second one is orange, third one is green, and fourth one is silver. Okay children, I have to find the resistance of this carbon resistor. Now the four stripe colors are given. First one is blue, the second one is orange, third one is green, and fourth one is silver. Okay, let's find out what will be the resistance. If I go by the significant assigned to different colors, so you can see that blue is how much? 6. So this is 6. Next is orange. Orange is 3. Next is green. Green is 5. And silver plus minus 10%. So when I write it, so this 63, 6 and 3 are the first two significant figures. So resistance will be R is equal to 63 into third side, so digit corresponding to multiplier to the base 10. So 10 to the power 5 plus minus error is 10%. Okay, and if you want to write this correctly, then R will be 6.3 10 to the power 6 plus minus 10%. So it's very easy to calculate resistance if coding is given. Just remember that first two steps are showing multipliers, third step is showing first two steps are showing significant figures, third step is showing multiplier to the base 10, and the fourth one is tolerance, means whatever error is there we can calculate from there. Okay, now let's see another one. Suppose I have a carbon resistance and these are the stripes on it. Suppose the fourth stripe is not printed, only three stripes are given. First one is given here red, second one is given as green, and third one is given as violet, and fourth stripe is not given altogether. So what will be the resistance, children? The first two stripes will be the first two significant figures. So red is 2, green is how much? 5, so will be 25 into violet is how much? 7, 10 to the power 7, and fourth stripe is not there, so error is how much? Plus minus 20%. So this is the resistance of the carbon resistor. We can write it properly: 2.5 into 10 to the power 8 plus minus 20%, and this will be ohm. Unit of resistance is ohm. Okay, so it's easy for you to calculate resistance of any carbon resistor. It is given to you by using this simple coding system. Okay, now children, once I have done the color coding of carbon resistances, remember we discussed drift velocity. Now in this discussion we will try to find out what is the relation between drift velocity and electric current which is flowing through a circuit. If you remember, we already discussed that electric current is caused in a circuit, electric current flows through a circuit because electrons are moving through the circuit, right? If there are no electrons, if there is no drift of electrons, there is absolutely no electric current. So we will find out what is the relation between electric current and drift velocity. Let us see this discussion. We will consider we have a conductor out here. We have a conductor, length of the conductor is L and cross section area is A. Now suppose this end is positive and this end is negative. So we know this is how the current is flowing from positive to negative, and electrons drift in the opposite direction. Electrons are drifting in the opposite direction, right? We will make certain assumptions. So we will write the topic first: relation between current and drift velocity. Children will be discussing relation between current and drift velocity. In the previous video we discussed relation between drift velocity and electric field. Okay. Now there is a term I will be using, charge density or electron density. Now what is electron density? Electron density, the number of, we know that metals have very large number of free electrons, and the number of free electrons is key to the flow of electric current through a conductor. How good a conductor is will depend upon how many free electrons it has, one of the important factors. More is the number of free electrons, more will be the conductivity, meaning number of electrons in unit volume of a conductor is called electron density. Okay, very important. We will say like this: let electron density is equal to n. Now electron density is also called charge density. It means number of electrons in unit volume. And children, remember, this is characteristic of a conductor. Different conductors have different number of electrons in unit volume, and we'll say length of the conductor equals to L, and cross section area of the conductor is equal to A. Now see children, length is L and cross section area is A. If I multiply length with cross section area, I'll get the what? I'll get the entire what? Volume. Right? So therefore, volume of the conductor equals to area into length. Now here I want you to remember that electron density is n, meaning when volume is 1, then n electrons are there. Hence, total number of electrons will be n into A into L. Electron density into volume will be the total number of electrons. We know these many electrons are there. Let's denote this by capital N. Capital N is equal to n into A into L. These many electrons are there, and we know the charge of electron is denoted by E. Therefore, total charge Q is equal to n into E. So NaL into E. I can also write NEA into L. So this is the total charge. So when I apply this potential difference, all the electrons start what? Drifting at the same time, and a current is set up in the circuit. Therefore, current I will be Q by T. I want to understand Q by T, and Q how much you got? NEAL divided by T. I can also write NEA into L by T. Now L is the what? Total length of the conductor which electrons have to travel, and T is the total time. So total distance upon total time will be the what? Mean or average velocity. So very rightly we can say, but L by T is equal to what? The average velocity V, and that average velocity is what? Drift velocity. Therefore we get a relation I is equal to NEAVD. Now this is an interesting relation which you have to remember. I is equal to NEAVD. Now once you calculate current, then you can also calculate current density. Current density J is equal to how much, children? I by A. Current through unit cross section area is called current density. Now if I put the value of I, NEAVD divided by A, cancel out A and A, J is equal to how much you have? NEVD. And we know, also we discussed yesterday, the current density is a vector quantity. So in vector form we can also write like this: J vector is equal to NE into V vector. So we derive relations between current and drift velocity, and also between current density and drift velocity besides vector form also. So this is an important discussion that we have had. Make sure you understand it. Now children, we will try to establish Ohm's law using drift velocity. And you very well know, for proving Ohm's law, we have to prove that V by I is what? V divided by I is constant. Always bear in mind, Ohm's law will hold only when V divided by I is constant, right? So we'll see here Ohm's law using drift velocity. Ohm's law using drift velocity. We will go back to the same similar discussion, not same but similar discussion. Here you have a conductor, length of the conductor is L, length is L, cross section area is A, this is positive and this is negative, and this is how the electrons are drifting, right? This is how the electrons are drifting across the conductor. Now we know, actually we calculated just now, I is equal to NEAVD. We derived just now, and yesterday in the previous video we have seen, but VD is equal to, we have E by m into tau. We discussed this. Drift velocity is equal to E electric field divided by m into period of relaxation. Now children, electrons will be set into motion only when you apply a potential difference. So we will assume that with the help of a battery we are applying a potential difference, what? V. So we will say if potential difference is equal to V, then you already know E is equal to V by L. Therefore, hence from equation 2, Vd is equal to, I will replace E tau by m into V by L. I got the value of Vd. Once I got the value of Vd, I can see Vd we have been able to express in terms of what? Period of relaxation, charge and mass of electron, and applied potential difference and length. Now this transformed value of drift velocity we will substitute in equation 1. Hence from equation 1 children we have I is equal to NEA into, I will put value Vd, E tau V by m into L, right? So I can say like this, I by V, I will just rearrange this, I by V is equal to N E square A into tau, see here N E square A into tau by m into L, and if I take its reciprocal, then Vi by I will be equal to m divided by N E square A tau into L by A. Now we got a very interesting expression. You see, m is mass of electron, n is electron density, E charge of electron. So these three are constants for a given conductor, and also for a given conductor L and A are also constant, because when I say given conductor, suppose there is a given conductor, then its length and cross section area is also constant. So everything is constant. Now comes the question of tau, very important. If you remember Ohm's law, we have said that at a given temperature or at a constant temperature. Why? Because tau is a key factor. If temperature will change, then tau will also change. If temperature will increase, then electrons will collide faster and the value of tau will decrease. If temperature will decrease, then electrons will be colliding less frequently and tau will increase. In either way, everything is constant except tau, and tau also becomes constant if temperature is constant. So, I will say I conclude that V by I is equal to constant. This shows that V is directly proportional to I, and this proves our case. But V by I is equal to how much? R. So, we can say that R is equal to how much? M divided by N E square into tau into L by A. So, this is the resistance of a conductor in terms of other parameters, mass and charge of electron density, period of relaxation L and A, right. Now, let us see here, but we already know, but we have R is equal to rho into L by A. This is equation 3. R is this much and also R is equal to rho into L by A. So, if I equate, then I get a very important relation. Rho is equal to M divided by N E square into tau. So, we come across by comparing, we get an interesting relation. Rho equals to M divided by N E square into tau, right. And also from here, conductivity we can get sigma is equal to 1 by rho N E squared tau divided by M. So, these two are important outcomes of this. So, using drift velocity, we have been able to show that if temperature remains constant, then V by I will also be a constant, and we can easily calculate the values of resistivity and also conductivity in terms of electron density, mass of electron and charge of electron. Okay. From this discussion, children, it is clear that resistivity and conductivity, they do not depend upon the values of length and cross section area, but they depend upon temperature, because period of relaxation here tau depends upon temperature. So, we have been able to establish this important context. Now, children, we will be going through another discussion, combination of resistances. Combination of resistances. In practical scenario, it becomes necessary to combine two or more resistances together. So, we will understand what will be the equivalent resistance when I combine resistance in series or when I combine in parallel. So, we will be seeing first simple combinations, and then we can have mixed combinations. Okay. So, in simple combination we have two types. One is called series combination and the other one is called parallel combination. Okay. So, we will discuss series combination. What is series combination of resistances? In series combination of resistance, children, we combine resistances from end to end like this. One resistance is here and the resistance is here, and we will go on. You can put as many as we want. So, this is end to end combination. You can see I begin from point here, let us say this point A, and go up to point what? And the point, suppose this point is B, and I put one wire. Between B to C I connect what? Second wire. C to D I connect another wire, and then I connect a battery out here. So, this becomes what? Series combination of resistances. Now, the interesting thing is that current will travel from positive terminal of the battery. You can see, let us trace the direction of current. So the current is traveling from here, comes at point A. You can see again it passes through B. Same current passes through the other resistance between B and C, and yet again the same current passes through B and C and D, and it will come back into the negative terminal of the battery. Let us say the first resistance is R1, second one is R2, and third one is R3. You can clearly see that current through all the resistances is what same. So I will say let the current is I, but what is different is we have already known that if there is a wire of resistance R and current is I, then potential difference V is equal to I into R. We have done using Ohm's law. So you can see that potential difference across each resistance will be different, because the values of resistances are what? Different. So we will assume that potential difference here is V1, here is V2, and here it is V3. Now children, if I ignore the potential drop in these wires, then I can say that if I am applying a potential difference V which in the battery, then V will be equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3, right. This is an approximation. We are actually ignoring the potential drop in the wires. So if I ignore that drop, then V1 plus V2 plus V3, so on and so forth, will be equal to the applied potential difference, right. So in series combination is what combination? End to end combination. What combination is this? End to end combination is called series combination. Now there are two important things which you have to know. Number one, current is same. In series combination, current is same. And number two, applied potential difference is equal to sum of potential difference across individual resistances. So you have to know, to bear in mind that I will be same, current will be same, and if I add up the potential difference across individual resistances, that will be equal to the applied potential difference. Okay, so let us calculate from here equivalent resistance. If equivalent resistance, now what is equivalent resistance? Equivalent resistance, it merely means the effective resistance that we will get by combining all these resistances together. Okay, so equivalent resistance is equal to RS. I will say R for equivalent and S for series. Then V will be equal to how much, children? I into RS, because current is I and the effective resistance RS. How many volts you are applying? I into RS. And also we know V1 is equal to I into R1, V2 is equal to I into R2, V3 will be equal to I into R3. It will just go on. So therefore, V is equal to, we get V1 plus V2 plus V3, so on and so forth. I will let dot 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 out here. We put in the values, then I into RS will be equal to I into R1 plus I into R2 plus I into R3. Now children, we cancel out I which is common on both sides. So RS is equal to how much here? R1 plus R2 plus R3. It will go on. So we can write RS is equal to total of Ri I1 to N. So this is the equivalent resistance of series combination. Now what you need to remember is that current is same in series combination and sum of potential difference across individual capacitors is equal to individual resistance is equal to the applied potential difference. Okay. So thank you very much. Only this much we will be doing in this video. We will be discussing parallel combination and new topics in the next video. Okay.